Well, welcome, polka fans. Today is my privilege and honor to conduct an interview with International Polka Association Hall of Fame member, class of 2008, Ray Jay Jarusinski. Hello, Ray. How you doing tonight?
Okay, Dennis. How are you?
Very well, very well. I hope you and your family are doing okay in this unique time in our lives. I hope and pray everyone is healthy.
So far, so good. Yeah, we're doing good.
That's good. That's good. We just got to stay that way, right?
Yeah, it's for sure. Get over this.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go right into it here. We'll just try our little Q&A session here. So let's just start from the beginning. How'd you begin playing polka music? How did it all begin for you?
Well, I started probably when I was about 15, 16 years old. We always had Polish polka music on at supper time. My mother always had it on. And my brother played accordion, so I always loved the drums. So when I got drums, my brother started with the accordion. I said, well, let's start playing. And I started playing together. So we started to play in bars. I was 16 years old, and I was playing in bars on a Friday night till like 9, 10 o'clock, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we got our start in the bars, you know.
Wow. So was there a person or anybody who inspired you? You mentioned your brother. Was there anybody else, or did you have like a polka hero growing up? Anybody that really influenced you?
Well, what happened one Polish day at a local park here, my grandfather, he always liked to go to Polish Day at Kennywood Park. So I went with him and a couple of my other cousins, and we went to the band shell. They had Walter Solek on stage. And I thought, man, this guy he's a lot of fun. I said, he's having so much fun up there. He's bringing in bells. He had those bells on the sticks on the canes. So I sort of fell in love with that type of music, you know, and I thought, boy, this is fun music. And I was a young kid, too. But I really enjoyed it. So it stuck with me.
Well, that's good. Well, so you mentioned your brother. I was just wondering, you know, if anybody in your family was a musician and they played musical instruments. So your brother was the accordion player. Were you guys in a band together or anything, or we just kind of played around, or was there anybody else?
Yeah, well, we formed a band. We went from the two-piece, him and me playing. We got a trumpet player and a sax player. We started to play four-piece, and we were called the Polcats. That was probably in 60, 61, around in there. And we played weddings, and we played some clubs. And, we played for good 5, 6 years after that.
So why did you pursue polka music as opposed to anything else? Was it just something you grew up with when you were young?
I grew up with it, yeah, and I fell in love with it. And it just stuck with me. I got so much enjoyment out of it. And when on the stage, when I used to sing and play, I thought, well, this is coming pretty natural to me. I really loved the way it just came to me, and I just stuck with it, you know. And I listened to other bands, and that's the whole.
You never really did like a country music or any kind of other, or did you kind of incorporate some of those style songs in your?
I did like all types of music. I listened to country, and I liked the rock and roll at the time. And till this day, I listen to all types of music. I listen on Sirius radio. I like the oldies and the 40s and 50s, and I like the old country, the very best old country, you know.
Yeah, we can definitely see that influence on a lot of polka bands. I know Eddie B turned a lot of country music into to polkas and stuff. So.
Yeah, he did a nice job with it too.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you feel is your greatest achievement in your polka career?
Well, it would have to be being elected to the Polka Hall of Fame. But
sure.
The biggest thrill I ever got was when I had my first opportunity to play for the IPA at
is it Milwaukee then, or yeah?
Wisconsin, yeah, back in 1960, or probably 71, I think, early 70s.
Probably the Red Carpet Lounge in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's where I saw Amplayers the first time, and I saw Jarusinski Brothers, and it was just such a deal for me to be there, you know.
Nice.
In fact, I talked to Eddie B, I think, at that first convention, and I had a 45 that I sent out for promo, and I sent one to Eddie, and he said, get in touch with him. He'd like to see what he could do with me on a recording. So that's how our first recording got its start. That's how we got our start. Because after that first recording, I think it sort of broke the ice, and we were getting calls from people out of state to play, and it was just like a big boost to us, you know.
Mm-hmm. Now, that was Ray Jay and the Carousels at that point?
Yes, Ray Jay and the Carousels. I started with the Ray Jay and the Carousels after I got out of the service, and the Carousel, Little Running Carousel bands were disbanded. And I came back, and I used to write to Stasio Grotny, and he said, well, when you come back from the Army, we'll get together and start the band. So we did. Started out with the Judy Brothers, and we started out with Grotny and Stash, and we had a 5-piece band. So then we graduated to the 6-piece when, Walt had to go to school. He was studying to be a dentist, Walter Chudy, and he had to go to school. He picked up Ted Kabbalah, so when he came back from school, we had the 6-piece band. So that's how we played. In fact, one time we had 7 guys in the band. We had 2 trumpets, clarinet, drums, concertina, accordion, and bass.
Yeah, because kind of looking through some of the questions I was going to ask, we were talking about like your original band members, and it seems like you have a good memory of the guys you started with, and like you said, with going to the service, we're actually recording this on Veterans Day, so thank you and everybody for your service and all that. Talk more about your original band and all the like who did you play with the longest? Is there someone that you started with that's still playing with you today?
Yeah, I had you Grody, the longest member of the Ray Jay and the Carousels band, but then also Ted Kabbalah. I played with the Bellhops Orchestra. I was the vocalist with the Bellhops, and I sat in on drums a few numbers. So Ted, I knew Ted from before the service, before I went to the Army, and he would later join me in my band. So him and Ed were the two oldest, longest time members there,
Mm-hmm.
And
that means a lot, I think, for a band, that they gel and you have these core guys that are with you so long. It really shows in the music you play,
Yeah, it's always we're comfortable when you have somebody that's been with you a long time. They know every move you're going to make, and they know where to put their licks in, and it's just so much easier. Although we had fill-ins, like with Richie Coyce has been with me off and on, and Dave Zikowski, and we had different fill-in on the horns, because there's always a need for musicians. Someone's sick or someone has something to do. You have to get somebody to take their place, and usually the ones we had fill in were
right.
pretty much accustomed to our setup, So
right.
we were lucky to be through the years,
Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to have a steady group, but with this day and age, you always have the substitute players. It seems like more years ago, you could count on the same 5-6 guys were always going to show up. This day and age, you may have 3 or 4 core guys, but there's always a guest or two, as you say.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
So, did you have any favorite areas or places to perform? Did you mentioned Milwaukee earlier, or obviously you're from the Pennsylvania area. The one place that I've never been to, and I wish I had the opportunity, was like a Feeder's Grove. What were your favorite places or areas to perform?
Feeder's Grove, that was like our home field advantage up there. We played a lot of Feeder's, being that the guys in my band were nephews to Joe Feeder, 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
So Joe Feeder would call me like some 11 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, and say, I got Mary and Lush coming in, Ray. I need a second band, because he always put 2 bands on stage. So he'd call me up and say, yeah, we'll be right up. We'll come up, set up, So we were more or less the house band up there. A lot of other bands around here, they sort of got mad at us, but we had our little in with Joe Fedor,
Sure.
Nephew. And then, of course, there was Hardy's Pub was always a good hangout, good polka place. So at one time they had 3 stages and bands were on 3 different stages. So that was a fun deal up there.
Wow.
But I enjoyed a lot going to the Catskills when we'd play for maybe Stanky up that way, or Jimmy Sturr would have a weekend, and it was just so much fun to go up there because you got fed good, you ate with the guests, and it was just like a vacation for us too. Plus, we were getting paid on top of that, And John and Fritzy from New York, I can't remember his last name, but they were good people. We played we used to get 2 days every festival they had, so that was like four times a year we played for them.
Nice. Yeah, those are some of the... Oh, go ahead.
I always enjoyed Chicago because that was the base. That was the base to break into. If you played in Chicago, that meant something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly think that a lot of our local musicians take that for granted, but it's very interesting, when you hear people from either East or West or whatever saying that, boy, you made it when you played Chicago, or you knew you made it if you played the IPA convention. That was truly something, correct?
Oh yeah, because all these bands, that was their home there. Like Steve Adamczyk, Chicago, and all these Chicago bands were just the best. Blazonczyk, Wally, Little Wally, and all the clubs and everything they had going at one time. It was unbelievable how many polka places you could go to every day of the week.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of sad when you think back at it because there's hardly anything left anymore. But you're absolutely right. Like Wednesday nights, we're big polka nights along with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It wasn't just 1 day a week or 2 days a week.
That's right. And I'll tell you another place that really impressed me was when I played at Colonial Grove. That was just unbelievable how you're at an outdoor venue like that, and yet you're inside of a city with the wooden wall around it, And that was just like, it was like the dream, You didn't believe you were here, Colonial Grove.
Yeah, that was a very unique venue, but a hot spot for sure.
Those days are gone, though, I guess.
Yeah, but there's still a few venues, and like I said, we keep things going as much as you can, and and hope to keep things going. We still have some great festivals, so hopefully we get through this whole COVID situation and then get back to these festivals because there's still you still see some good attendance with those.
Yeah, that's the thing we got to keep on going. I always thought, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I thought, well, the polkas are dying, they're going to go, But I said, I'll keep playing as long as people keep calling, and people kept calling, so I kept playing. In fact, I would probably play still that this year, Everybody was willing, but we just couldn't do it because of the virus, But I just hope everything gets cleared up and semi back to normal soon,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I miss it. I miss it a lot. So what about some of the, you mentioned the bands and some of the places. What about songs? Are there certain, I know I have my list of favorite songs, but what are yours, or what are the ones you like to play or record?
I like the stuff that we recorded by the Ampliers. I was always amazed by them, and I was in love with their music, and you could tell it on our albums because I recorded many tunes by them. Not to try to show them up, but just out of decent, to honor them more or less. And I enjoyed singing those songs like Muzykanci and Gold Diggers and stuff that is so unique. It's unique to only them.
Right. Well, Pinup Girl is always one of my favorites, right?
Pinup Girl. You can never duplicate them, but you could play the music to honor them. That's the way I always thought.
Absolutely. Yeah, now it seems like they're, folding up again. And so, it's good that, there are bands that are going to play those tunes and keep those tunes going, because those are fantastic tunes, not only to listen to, but to dance to as well. Real good beats.
They're classic tunes.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. So that brings me to my other questions, like, what kind of sets you apart in polka music? Now, do you consider yourself, what is your style, a honky style, a push style, or do you have another name for the style of music you play? It's always good dancing music, so that's what helps,
When we first started to play with the original band, Ray Jay and the Carousels, we started out being typically honky. So then when Ted Cabral, he came into the band, he says, why don't we start pushing some of these songs, like on the riffs and stuff. So we started to play sort of a semi-honky push style, sort of like Lenny Gomolka. He's typically not a push style altogether band. He does a lot of honky and pushes at the end, so that's mainly how we ended up to be a honky push, where we would start out a honky and do the vocals and rip into the riff with a push. But see, people seem to like the beat, because I think we had a deep beat when we played,
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's very unique because we were even talking about it. So, well, it's not really honky, but it's got a little push in the end. So yeah, it's like I said, it's great to dance to. It's easy to dance to, and that and I think sometimes people lose track of that. That we always say, oh, we're going to a dance, but then there's a whole group of us that don't really dance. But you do have to cater to the dancers a lot. So. That's why I enjoy your music, because it's something we can really feel that beat. That's what makes it good for dancing.
That's what makes us go more. When you see the people dancing out there, it's that. I know a lot of people like go to dances and they stand in front of the stage. I did that too. I did that with a lot of bands. But when you go and you start playing the music and you see the floors like almost full. Not too many people are watching. They're not watching me, but they're dancing, so that makes me happy. Me happy. I really don't care if they stand and watch me, but I'd rather have them out there dancing and enjoying.
Yeah, I think that shows that they feel the music, and that they have if you're standing there and your feet are tapping, like, hey, come on, let's go dance.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have any advice for any new musicians starting out in polka music?
I just tell them that like what you're doing, and you'll see it in the audience when you play, and you'll see that they're liking it too, and that gives you an extra push and that drive. It's not an easy life. I didn't do as much traveling as most bands did, but when I did it, the traveling part you could keep. I just hated that. I liked being at the place and doing my job, and then the bad part, you got to get in the truck or van and go back 10, 11 hours or so. And you get home and you got to go to work the next day or so, it's terrible.
Sure.
But that's the bad part of it. Good part is when you're out on stage and people are enjoying you,
And you kind of touched on traveling. I think people take a lot of that for granted. They don't realize you go to a dance, even if it's on a Sunday afternoon or some, it ends at 6, 7 o'clock, and they're home at 7:30. They don't realize you're still packing up, you're still driving, you're still, Yeah.
I have a lot of times I have that feeling, like sad feeling, like you quit at 7 o'clock and people are still coming up. Hey, nice seeing you guys again. We really enjoyed it. And then about 15 minutes later, the hall is completely empty.
Right.
The bartenders there cleaning up, and the ladies are cleaning the tables off. And you're thinking, where'd all our friends go? And we're packing up and loading the trailer up. And it's just it hurts you a little bit, but that's what you got to take that, you're there to do a job and you're done. You got to back it up.
Well, that's just it. People, polka musicians, they like to have fun, and that's fine. I have no issues with that. But you got to realize too that you're there to do a job. You're there to entertain people. It's great that we can stay at the bar and have a drink with one another, or talk with one another. So this is one of my last questions here. Is like, we always ask our polka interviewees about sharing some wacky or memorable band stories. Every band has one, but I'm sure we could hear a lot more if we wanted to make this a little more PGR rated. But any clean stories you can tell us?
I'll tell you one that I was thinking about telling you when I first got the questions. We were in Chicago. We were playing Chicago, so we were on our way home. I can't remember the venue or where we played, but we're on our way home, and we're driving through the streets and everything. And I said, I don't know how to get on the freeway there, Natalie. And we didn't know where we were at. So we come upon a police car, and the closer we got, I realized, oh my God, that cop got his gun out, and he has two people against the wall, and he's holding his gun. And we're asking, he says, sir, can you tell us how to get to the freeway? And he gave us the direction. And I thought, holy, let's get the heck out of here. And it was so unbelievable, He was nice enough to give us directions out of there. And he had these guys against the wall, their hands were on the wall, and he had his gun drawn, And man, oh man, we get close to the place and we get lost somehow. We take a wrong turn. And that's before GPS, of course. You just had the map in your truck, the old Atlas. So, but that was one of the scary times. Story I thought of when I saw that question.
Yeah, you can look back and laugh at it now, but probably at the time it's like, holy crap.
What the heck's going on here? Let's get out of here.
Well, Ray, that's pretty much all I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add or say to our polka community, our polka fans?
Well, I'd just like to say I'm so honored and privileged that I was chosen to do an interview, for people to know what my thoughts and everything are on the music and the business. And I feel honored that you called. And I'm so glad that I could do it.
Well, and it's, as I stated in the beginning, it was a privilege and honor for me to conduct the interview with you as well. So, at this point, I'll just like to say, that I just hope and pray that everybody stays healthy. And, I look forward to listening to fine sounds of Ray Jay and the Carousels in the near future. I thank you very much for your time. I truly enjoy this. It was very nice. I enjoy this, Ray.
Well, thanks, Dennis. I see you soon.
All right, well, everybody take care, and have a great holiday season as well, as great as we can in these conditions.
Thank you.